One thing that will take us to the very source of our experience is when Atimuchya, when the individual has the ability to have Vairagya, when they can abandon, remove the attachment that is there, and the attachment is there because there is Bhogasakti. Because that particular vastu, I seem to have put it under the category of that which may yield some kind of happiness, joy, a sense of peace, a sense of security. Because one of these three reasons, we are having attachment to people, attachment to places, attachment to things, attachment to kinds of experiences. There's something that which we want that environment to yield to us. Knowing very well that it is not of a great sense of permanency. The sense of security is temporary. The sense of peace is not long lasting. And the sense of joy, even when enjoying, I come to realize, what next? But this is not satisfying. Therefore, something which can be satisfactorily be enjoyed. Therefore, if we look at our entire day, the spread of the day, where there are things that which we deem as burden, we somehow get along with it. Usually it is our job. During that job, during that day, while fulfilling that responsibility, we place things in such order wherein little joy. Early morning coffee, choicest breakfast, 10:30 tea, then again lunch, various things that we spread. After the whole day is done, spend some time with friends, then with family, with kids. So with each one of this tube, the reason I said it out loud as tube is in my head I was imagining that each one is like the toothpaste tube, which has come to the very end. You know you have to go purchase one more. I didn't expect myself to say it out loud as tube, but now that I have said it, now I have to give the reason for it. So what do we do when it has come to the very end? So we try to squeeze every last bit of it, don't we? With the backside of the toothbrush, try to push, try to roll it up and squeeze every bit out of it. In every single environment, that is what we anticipate to eke out that little pleasures. And then at the end of the day, sum it up and say, आज ठीक था. Today was okay. Why? Through everything, I tried to squeeze. Now that which you are trying to squeeze, one day or the other it will squeal. Because you are squeezing it too hard. And that day it doesn't come to my liking. Why? It is not giving me the joy that I am anticipating. And if that repeatability continues where it is not yielding that joy to me, then I try distancing from it. Then try newer environments. This sense of attachment which is born because I am seeking these three factors, a sense of pleasure, sense of peace, sense of security, the day that the individual understands that none of the material, none of the things, none of the beings from the outside can ever yield that to me, give me that sense of security. Even though they are, I have not impacted them by their presence or by their absence. Because the moment I see something, people say, "Dekhte chuda tha." As soon as I see, I get irritated. My mind becomes restless. You are being impacted. And if I don't see certain things, then also I am impacted. Ati muchya, that sense of attachment has to be given up by proper understanding. Viveka has to be there. And therefore the next word that is said, dhiraha. Dhiraha, the one who is endowed with mountains of patience. That kind of patience which does not get agitated, disturbed because of my anticipations of the future or because of my regrets of the past or my confusions of the present. Mountains of patience. And wherever there is courage, Wherever there is patience, there is courage. Because the patience is the platform in which Viveka can develop. And wherever Viveka develops, that is where courage becomes an outflow. Atimuchya dhiraha. Pretya asmat lokat amrita bhavanti. Pretya. Pretya meaning having left. So one meaning of having left, where many people interpret it as after leaving this body. That would not be the style of the Upanishad, wherein when you say after leaving the body, it almost seems like it justifies people in their utter sheer distress committing suicides. Why? Good riddance. If there is another life, I will probably have a better situation. Funny thing is, funny or sad thing, is the same situations repeat themselves again and again and again. Unless we learn how to tactfully, intelligently apply the Karma Yoga Siddhanta. Either this life or next life. So it is not talking about leaving this body. Pretya, having thus given up the sense of attachment to the worldly things. They may be there. As and when the experience happens, you will interact with them. It may yield certain amount of pleasure, joy, sense of peace, sense of security. But you know you don't need to depend on them as they are not permanent. Pretya asmat lokat, from the worldly attachments. Such one, amrita bhavanti. Amrita, every other experience is mrita. Every other experience is mrita. I am interacting with, someone. That interaction itself is started in time, will end in time. It's much more closer relationship. One little word can disturb that sense of security and peace. All the distancing between the relationships happen from where? From the word, just a word. They are all mrita. Interacting with that which is of the nature of mrita, how can we assume that it will give a completeness of joy? Completeness of that happiness? Because they are not complete unto themselves. That which is by nature not complete unto itself, how can that yield something which is of nature of completeness? Amrita bhavanti. Amrita, that which does not have mritatva, mortal. When do we realize it? When the complete focus of our mind, our intellect, our antakarana shifts its focus from the outside and depends on the outside, it turns within. With Viveka and Vairagya, substantiated with Viveka, when Vairagya is complete, the sense of independence, the sense of freedom, then we realize how many shackles were we bound in. So many layers of it. That itself is a relief, big relief. Two kinds of freedom. One is a relief kind of a freedom, freedom from the outside field of objects. Freedom in being that complete, that I don't need to seek, I don't need to search, I don't need to wait for something to happen to be in that state of completeness. Amrita bhavanti. Now moving forward, because that mantra we have seen quite extensively yesterday. Page number 84. Mantra number 3. न तत्र चक्षुर्गच्छति न वाक् गच्छति न मनः नो मनः न विद्मः न विजानीमः यथा ये तत् अनुशिष्यात् अन्यदेव तद्विदितादथो अविदितादधि इति शुश्रुम पूर्वेषाम् येनस्तत् व्याचचक्षिरे. Now the next beautiful proceeding of the logic. न तत्र चक्षुर गच्छति न वाक् गच्छति न मनः न विद्मः न विजानीमः. Yes, that which you have asked, O student, केनेशितं पतति प्रेषितं मनः केन प्राण प्रथम प्रैति युक्तः केनेशितां वाचमिमां वदन्ति. The first mantra. The student asks, what is it that enables, prompts, guides all these different factors to function in their individual respective fields? The first answer that was given at the same level that the student has asked. Shrotrasya Shrotram, it is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, prana of the prana, speech of the speech. Having said that, now he is taking that young mind of the student from the level that he or she has asked to the next higher level. And what is the next level? He says, though it is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, speech of the speech, mind of the mind, prana of the prana, but yet through the eyes, through the speech, through the ears, it cannot be perceived or even understood. न तत्र चक्षुर गच्छति, meaning the seeing cannot take us there. न तत्र वाक् गच्छति, the speech cannot take you there. न मनः न ऊ मनः, the mind cannot conceive of it. न विद्मः न विजानीमः, we neither know nor do we with vijanimah can ever grasp it completely. The student is suddenly like, up until the last mantra when the teacher started saying, I think I can now understand this. He is talking to me in my language. Suddenly a complete jarring break. So what? Because up until this point, whatever we experience is only through the sense organs. I believe in something only if I experience it. Don't we say, seeing is believing? I have to experience it first. How can I otherwise believe it? I have to at least hear about it. I have to at least be able to speak about it. None of these organs of perception, when organs of perception itself fail, what to talk about the organs of action? How about the mind? Na u manaha. Definitely the mind also cannot perceive it. Let us take simple examples for this to understand. Supposing there is a very well-made gulab jamun. Meaning through and through it is cooked properly. Through and through it has soaked all the syrup. Syrup is not too liquidy, not too hard, it has not crystallized. And that you took a bite of it. And suddenly your eyes widen up. Arre wah! And in that eagerness to enjoy that, the entire thing goes plop. And at that point, somebody asks you, how is it? First you say, let me finish it. After you have finished it, then you turn to the person and say, it is great. Describe it further. It is a mere simple physical level of experience. Even that cannot be described in words. At a gunpoint, if somebody is asking you, now describe it further, you say, it is really good. Now, good doesn't explain it. Can you explain it further? So, the best thing that you can do is take one more and push it into their mouth and say, that's how great it is. Words fail to describe even the simplest of the physical experience. Now, to describe that which cannot be described in words, it's not just difficult, it is impossible. And the entire Upanishad is series of impossibility being tried to make palatable that it seems like possibility. Why is it that the speech fails? The speech has to get its vocabulary from the understanding of the mind. The mind has to process it. And then the mind has to bring out the vocabulary of the choicest words to be able to describe it. Now, the mind, it can function only in the realm of known experiences. Like, for example, if I pick this and say, what is this? What is your immediate answer? It's a pen. Did you use this pen? No. But how did you know it is a pen? You have had earlier set of experiences. Based out of it, you have a certain aspect of understanding of your past memory. And through that past memory, same size, similar shape, coming from the right side of the pocket, that is where I also usually keep my pen. So it must be a pen. Something which looks like a pen and you pull out, then no, it is a screwdriver. That could be a trick question. But a normal generic question, when you pick it up and say, what is it? It looks like a pen. So it must be a pen. How do you know? Because of my earlier experiences. When we talk of Paramatma, Atma Chaitanya, what experience did the mind have prior to say that it can describe? No manaha. The mind does not have that field of experience. Okay, if it is not mind, how about intellect? It can investigate into the things which is unknown. Even for that intellect to ascertain that it is something which is unknown, therefore I am investigating, that field is completely blank. So when the intellect which decides on what are the choicest words does not know, does not have the experience, how can it put it in words? All these organs of perception and action can function flawlessly if trained with a discipline in the empirical world. It can identify things, it can pursue things. Because you have to follow certain logic, certain rhythm, certain reasoning, you will arrive at it in the outside field of world. The inside field of world, that is not somewhere the mind and intellect, one, have an experience about, cannot penetrate because it is limited by its own nature. It is like a stalemate. All that I have is only these instruments. And you say that it is impossible to arrive at that supreme which is the core of our being through these instruments. How do I proceed further? So what they are trying to say is, the Rishi is trying to say or point at is, that because of which the speech happens, that because of which the seeing happens, that because of which the hearing happens, that because of which the mind and intellect process things to be cognized, the cognition happens, that in whose presence all of this happens, that which these instruments cannot perceive and yet can understand its presence because of the functioning itself. What you are processing is not important. How sharp you are processing it is not important. The processing is happening because of whose presence? That come to cognize it as the very source. Are you able to hear me clearly? We are able to hear because there is an instrument called mic. The mic is connected to the amplifier is amplifying the sound, and the sound that you can hear. All of this happens because of one unseeable source, and that is called electricity. Is the environment a little too hot? It's okay. There is a fan, there is an AC. Can the fan be increased in speed? You can. See, the process of it going slow or going fast is not the condition that we have to be caught up in. Is it processing? Is it moving? That because of which the movement is happening, which you cannot see, cannot experience, but it exists enabling it to move. That is called electricity. It appears through various processes, and yet the processes cannot point at. All that you can say is that because of whose presence all of these function, that is called electricity. Am I getting across? Now the fan and its movement, can it define electricity? All that I can say through that movement is that because of whose presence it moves. Therefore, I know there is electricity. Initially when we started, suddenly that electricity stopped. For a couple of minutes, it stopped. The lights were gone. It became dark. That because of whose absence there was no light, the systems were not functioning. As soon as it came back, it started functioning again. That is electricity. How did you know its presence or absence? Through the functioning. Though I cannot directly see it, directly experience it, but through the movements, as I can find the presence of electricity, that these are all blessed by electricity, therefore I can function through these different functionalities. Similarly, the grossest of the instruments are the karmendriyas, the next subtler layer are the jnanendriyas, the mind is behind all of them, the intellect decides, all of these are functioning. Can my buddhi take the attention to that which is making it function? Becomes difficult. So now what you have to understand? Does spirituality or adhyatmikata have anything to do directly or indirectly with respect to the sharpness or the dullness of the instruments? It has got nothing to do with it. It has a certain functionality. It has a certain movement. And that because of which this movement happens, occurs, that is my true nature. And when it is saying clearly in the last mantra, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat Vachoha Vacham. Gurudev gives a very beautiful example. He says, son of Ramarao is Krishna Rao. Son of Ramarao is Krishna Rao. Meaning what? Krishna Rao is someone other than Ramarao. The ear of the ear, the seeing of the seeing, the speech of the speech, meaning that which is enabling it is definitely distinctly other than it, but because of whose presence it functions. Now, where is the difficulty to understand it? There are two layers to it. First layer, pay attention here. The first layer is whenever I say I am this, I presently have a different notion of who I am. That is the first difficulty. Misapprehension, as Gurudev would put it. What have we misapprehended ourselves as? The combined effect of body, mind and intellect, and whichever field of experience that they are attached to, all of that put together, I consider myself as a combination of all of these. I am tall, I am short, I am thin, I am fat, I am dark, I am white, I am brown. When you hear people describe, गेहूं जैसा सावला है, brownness is described, neither black nor white, brown. Now all of these are the attributes that I consider myself as. Who am I? I am this. I am son of so and so. As long as I don't have my own pratishtha, I go by the pratishtha of my elders. Once I have a certain degree, a certain forum, certain experience, then I say, then I don't introduce myself with respect to the glory of my ancestors. Then I say, I am a doctor, I am an engineer, I am. Now I have a certain pratishtha of myself. So there is this understanding or the wrong understanding of who am I. And I have assumed all that which is possible to create a cohesive picture of myself. Some identity should be there, and that is what I claim my identity to be. Now, what is the Upanishad pointing? The Upanishad is saying all of that belongs to you, is of you, not you. I think in some lectures earlier I had given the example that we all drive vehicles, different kinds of vehicles, car, scooter, bike, don't we? When somebody says, who are you? Did you ever introduce yourself with regards to the vehicle that you drive? I am Honda, Civic, 2023 model. Do you ever go with recognizing yourself with respect to that? I am Maruti. Oh, glad to meet you. I say, no. That is my vehicle. Which model? You never focus on that. Right? That is an instrument used by you. It belongs to you. Am I getting across? That which belongs to you is not you. It can be used by you. And yet, it is not that which defines you. But where are we in the societal status? The sophistication of the car, the brand, its name, and how I carry it is what I project myself as my identity. Swami, ये मारुति वारुति नहीं, BMW, वो भी ऐसा वैसा BMW नहीं, 7 Series. That is what we have made our identity to be. And we think it is logical enough saying that that is my identity, that is my status, that is who I am. And what the scripture is pointing is completely different. That which belongs to you is not you. Therefore, it cannot be identified as you. If not the vehicle and the assets, then the next, the intellectual prowess. बहुत पढ़े लिखो सब लोग. He has done BA, MA, BEd, MEd, PhD, postdoc. All of these are that which have been acquired. That which is acquired by someone else, which is not that which is acquired. But how do we go about in this world? I am a PhD. Therefore, there is permanent head damage. You are wrongly conceived, wrongly identified. If not for the assets, if not for these acquired intellectual status, then we go with wealth and the power that I have over people. I have so many followers. Where? On Instagram. Earlier people used to say, I have so many people working in me, under my company, I have that kind of a power. I am a politician, I have these many people that support me. These many constituencies support me. Now in the digital world, if it is on Facebook, how many friends? If it is on Instagram, Twitter, how many followers? For every post that I make, what is the reach? How many likes? How many subscriptions? How many forwards? That great I am. That vastness that I have occupied. That also is an identity. These are all wrongly conceived identities. That which belong to me and yet it is not me. It is not that difficult a concept. But yet we fail to distinguish ourselves separate from it. And a little bit of spirituality added into life is it? Oh, that is all Bhagwan's grace. Bhagwan's grace what? It is not you. It is that which belongs to you. And even when we want to brush it out saying that it is Bhagwan's grace, what am I saying? Trying to say, yes, it is me, but it is because of Bhagwan's grace. Bhagwan must be creeping there. Ayyo. Kana, it is not you. It is that which belongs to you. So the first thing is a wrong identification of who I am, considering all that which belongs to me as myself. And the second is that which I am has never been an introduced topic. Therefore, it has never been an experience. So much so that there is no other distraction, no other responsibility, no other things to do. You just have some beautiful time to yourself. And instead of cherishing that moment being yourself, what do we say? करने को कुछ नहीं है, बोर मार रहा. There is nothing to fiddle around with that which belongs to me, therefore I am bored. Therefore something has to be engaged with. What a pathetic condition of our mind. That I am not able to spend time with myself because I do not know who I am. The moment all the other belongings are put aside, there is some kind of a restlessness, becheni. Therefore, I want to fill that gap. Now, if nothing else, I call. Bas aise hi call kara. Why? I had time to kill. Do you understand? One, we are assuming all that which belongs to me as myself, and I do not have an entry into myself. Therefore, when I do get an opportunity, I am restless about being myself. So Gurudev somewhere says so beautifully, if you cannot stand yourself, why thrust your boredom onto others? What a beautiful point. We have never trained the mind to be the self. Therefore, na vijanimaha, na vidmaha, it is not known. So not only that it is not known, it's only our Upanishads, our Sanatana way of looking. It says, it is also very difficult to instruct about. Yetat, yatha yetat, anushishyat. Anushishyat, to be able to impart and instruct about, is very difficult. Now one might say, what is the Upanishad trying to do then? See, the Upanishad, because it cannot describe that core of our own being, that Atma Chaitanya to ourselves, it points all that which it is not, that which you are not, it points. That which remains after you have negated all that which you are not, that because of whose presence everything which you are not is functioning, that source you are. Therefore, when an atheist says, I don't believe in anything, I said, good. To tackle you is easier. Why? Because that is one fellow who says, I don't believe in any of these processes. I don't have to negate it for him. He is already negated. Do you believe in yourself? Yeah, of course. Now all these assumed layers of yourself, if you negate, what remains, you the self, is what we call as the Chaitanya Tattva, the very substratum of this entire universe. So if you believe in yourself, you cannot be atheist. So the Upanishad's technique has always been to point out the contradictions of our day-to-day experience, and through those contradictions point at the very source which cannot be put in words. Yatha etad anushishyat anyat eva. It is something other. Anyat eva. Here, as I said earlier, it points to the contradictions. One aspect we will understand very clearly. It says, Tat viditat athaha. It is something other than that which is known. Just now we went through the elaborateness of all that which I assume as myself, which are only my belongings and not me. Stresses and tensions of life reduce as you reduce your belonging. In the flights when you travel, one instruction that is given, travel light. Imagine one single person having to carry 5-6 different kinds of things, एक हाथ के नीचे एक हाथ going. But then you have one briefcase and one handbag, done. Light. The more you reduce, the more you are in delight. The lighter you become, the delighter you become. So all these that which belongs are known aspects, and you are something other than known. This much is clear. The next sentence is where our intellect gets clean bowled. Then if it is not something which is known, then certainly then it must be something which is unknown. It is not in the realm of known, therefore it should be the unknown factor. Upanishad says, it is something other than the unknown also. The intellect is like, ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो गया. This is little too much. What is in my hand? No. Right? Now what is in my hand? There is nothing, but you are the knower of known. You are the knower of that which you did not know. Also is known by you that I do not know this. Let me give a little more twist to the same example. What is on my hand? What is now on my hand? The presence of something is illumined by me. The absence of it is also illumined by me. The known is illumined, the unknown is also illumined. How many of you have gone to Manasarovar? You've been? For the rest of you?
Sorry.
You did. So Manasarovar, for all of you, is not known, unknown category. Do you know that it is unknown? Right? Have you gone to Charminar? Yes. Known. You are something other than the known. Have you gone to Mansarovar? Not known, unknown. You are something other than the unknown also. Most of our pursuit to get the kick out of life is that I am not satisfied with the known, so I start pursuing that which is unknown. Kuch naya, kuch hatke, something with a difference, something new, unknown. We also are in awe with that person wherein that which nobody ever thought of, you thought of and you pursued it. Subtler intellect, no doubt. As much as something is illumined as known, something which is illumined as unknown as well, there is that illuminator. Taking this concept subtler. Did you understand this concept? कुछ ठीक है. The understanding that is happening, are you aware of the understanding? Right? When the sentences have its own contradictions and I am not very clear about it, are you aware of that lack of clarity? There is something which is throwing light on that which has been grasped, understood, that which has not been grasped, not understood. Both of them are being illumined. That illumining factor is me, the self. Am I getting across? The understanding when it happens, I am aware of it. The concept is little difficult, I am not understanding it. That also is being illumined. The knowing is illumined, the not knowing is also illumined. The known is illumined, the unknown is also illumined. That illumining factor is me, the self, that awareness. Therefore, the Upanishad is very much right on track when it claims that this self is something which is other than the known and other than the unknown. It is that which illumines both the knowing and the unknowing, both the understanding and the not understanding. Is this understood? The knowing is understood, the not knowing is also understood. Is that awareness, that which illumines both, is the nature of self. Meaning, that is the very definition of I. Now, when you reach to that understanding and stabilize yourself, all the other anomalies that happen in the belongings, do you think they will ever become a distraction? It is something that has to be attended to. It is something that has to be given enough attention to. But it doesn't become the source of annoyance or disturbance. Head is pounding. It's annoying. You give it a medicine to put it to calmness. Vehicle is not starting. It only gurgurs and then stops. It is not starting. Then you call the mechanic. It needs a solution. Maybe the battery is drained. You need, what do you call that? Jump start. See, even my vocabulary, up until that word jump start, all the other words were illumined. And when that word I was figuring it out, somebody assisted, solution given, done. But what do I become? I become the problem. I become the annoyance. I become the headache. Even in that sentence, my head is throbbing. That sentence itself, if you analyze, I have a head, it unfortunately is throbbing, aching. Meaning I am something other than it. But the severe identification with it is so strong that I become the pain. Tat viditadato aviditadati. Then if the student were to ask, if the scripture cannot say it through words, if the known and unknown are not the parameters, how did you come about experiencing it as your own self? So the teacher says, all the credit goes to my parampara of gurus. Iti sushruma purvesham. Those that were guided by their earlier, they guided my guru and my guru guided me thus. Iti sushruma purvesham. Enastad vyacha chakshire. This is how it was explained and pointed at. And that which was pointed, transcending the intellect which is trying to grasp, understand, squeeze that understanding into. When I understood that the intellect itself is incapacitated to grasp it, the intellect stopped And when it stopped, what came forth bright, brilliant, that which always was there, became evident, that illumining factor within. Now when I say all of these is figure of speech, don't try to start searching for light inside. स्वामी जी ने बोला है वहाँ पे कुछ लाइट है, मेरे को दिख रहा ही रहा है. Light here is figure of speech because in the presence of light, as we can see things, in the presence of this light is where all the understanding or the not understanding, grasping, not grasping happens. That awareness was guided through this amazing parampara, because of which it was an immediate experience, a personal, subjective experience for me, which I am trying to share, says the Guru. Still the Shishya has a knotted eyebrow. Seems like I understand it, but seems like I am nowhere close to it. What exactly is this? So the Guru smiles and he says, we will look at it in the fourth mantra tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyat Dukha Bhag Bhaved, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.